Hello and welcome to the premiere episode of the R&D podcast. We just made that up because this is probably going to be our only podcast together, just solo. This is basically a supplementary podcast that Holly and I are going to be doing today because we have a special event this week only that we wanted to talk to you about because Holly is the new spokesperson for the company. So we've now given her the opportunity to shine and to speak and to talk about all things C Squared. So basically what's happening is we're having a Canada Day / 4th of July sale. Most of our services are available at 10% off except PR. Although if you're really nice and you ask Holly really nicely, she might give you a slight discount if you ask before the 6th. But she's a mean person, so she may not say yes. But if you ask her nicely, she may say yes. But basically, we have a whole bunch of things. Me and Holly are going to be going back and forth about what they are. Holly's going to explain it in depth, and she's going to tell you partly why you should be getting these services if you don't have them. So the first thing we're going to talk about, Holly, is number one, why should people even be talking to us as a first thing to work with us?
That's not where I thought you were going with this, I'll be honest.
So let's start with that.
What do you mean? Why people should speak to us in general, or?
No, people would want to work with C Squared in general, is what I mean.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're pretty encompassing of pretty much every service that you'll need as band or an artist to promote your music. And I do think it helps that we've got lots of experience in different areas. So obviously you've been doing this for a long time by yourself anyway. Corey writes for Metal Injection, so she knows how all of the major publications work. I do slightly smaller publications, but I sort of international ones. I'm also a musician. Guy is a musician. Ali is a musician. And Erin's a musician. So you've got all of our experiences from that side of things. Mm-hmm. And it means we all sort of understand how all parts of the industry works, mostly because we're all going through it.
I would agree with that.
I think it's very important.
Also, on top of that, I think the main difference, and I always bring this up, you care a lot, Gaia cares a lot, Aaliyah cares a lot. You guys put a lot of attention to the clients, and you're very, your intention is to make sure that the band succeeds and does well, not just to take, $500 or whatever the heck it is and go play video or whatever the heck it is that you want to do. So, are there any other reasons why people should work with C Squared before we continue?
I think if you're a band or an artist who perhaps doesn't really know what you need, people can come to us and we will guide them into the right direction.
I agree. Okay, so I'm going to give a brief rundown of everybody and some of their skills. I know you did just a little bit of it, but I'm going to toot your guys' horn for a second before we actually talk about services and give you an opportunity to drink your tea. So, first of all, me, Kurt, doing this since 2012 or 2013. I'm not even sure anymore. I probably worked with hundreds of bands. I've secured people coverage at the biggest publications and the smallest publications. I have a pretty good grasp of how to market a band, I think, or how to publicize a band is probably the better word. So I have a lot of testimonials. People can go and talk to other people I've worked with, other bands I've worked with. And they'll tell you that, they felt that I did a really good job with them. Corey has only been doing this for about 5 or 6 months, but in the time that I started working with her, all of the statistics of the organization have just been going right up. Everything, just placements, you name it, have been going up. All the clients have been doing better. Also, since I brought on Corey, the quality of presentations has gone up quite a bit because she's a skilled marketer. She knows what she's doing. She's been doing marketing for, I think, 10 or 12 years, something to that effect. And she's just a trustworthy individual, and she cares a lot about the bands as well. Holly is another person that is very skilled in pretty much everything she does. She has 2 degrees in writing, if I'm not mistaken, working on a 3rd. So she's got the credentials. Plus, she's been working in PR for 2 or 3 years on top of that. She has her own band that she did the entire PR campaign for, quite successfully, if I'm not mistaken. It looked quite successful to me, at least. Plus, on top of that, like I said, she cares about the bands. She's very dependable. I've never had an issue with her. Every time she tells me she's going to do something, she does it. She's even on time for everything. She was on time when I was late today. I couldn't fucking believe it. But anyways, she is a great person. She is absolutely phenomenal. And for some reason, she puts up with me and Corey. So that's a bonus right there. Gaia is also a phenomenal person to work with. She's a musician. She has her own solo project. Plus, she's played in a band called Uriel. And as a publicist, she has done absolutely phenomenal. We've only had her working as a PR for about 2 months, but in that time, she has kicked major butt. Everybody who's worked with her just fucking loves her. She was actually already helping other bands a little bit with their PR prior to working with us. She just didn't realize it. She would give people marketing advice and PR advice for ages before she started working with us. Who am I missing? Aaliyah is fantastic as well. She just started doing some PR campaigns, but she did one with Mordrian recently and Death on Fire. Both of them she's just kicking major ass with. Ez has only just briefly started doing stuff, but so far she's super enthusiastic. And I think the key thing for everybody cares. And Holly's the best. So let's move on to the next thing. So do you have anything to add to that, Holly?
I mean, you never like toot your own horn. So is that supposed to be my job?
Yeah, you got to toot my horn for me. So lay it on me.
Well, it's like, you put up with the utter chaos that I think is the lot of us. I mean, I like to think we're organized chaos, but you put up with all of us, and you're always there if I need to ask you a question, and you always help, and you never complain about anything. And it's, yeah.
I appreciate that, Holly.
Very, very much glad to be working with you. That wasn't a sentence.
You are never leaving us as long as you live. You are stuck with us. You are stuck with us till the time. I don't care if Fletch tries to rescue us from your clutches. We will fight him. He is not allowed to take you from us.
Okay.
He's allowed to be part of the circle, but he's not allowed to take you away.
Yeah.
I have to tell him. He's allowed. Yeah. We will tolerate him as long as he does not take you away from us. So thank you for tooting my horn, though. I do appreciate that. But in all seriousness, before we move on, I do, for some reason, I think that everybody that we're working with right now, you, Corey, Aaliyah, the whole 9 yards, as one thing I do also want to point out about it is I think that I know you guys are the most dependable people I've ever worked with, and that's hard to find. So that's a key part with C Squared. A lot of thing with PRs and stuff is if people try to contact them, they'll take a long time to respond. They're very difficult to get in touch with, and they'll be kind of annoyed at people for getting in touch with them. None of us do that. Have you done that? I've never done that. Yeah, no. You haven't you? Did you do it?
No, I've not. I've done it with people who have sent me not very good pitches. But that's because they've sent a generic pitch, which I know they've sent it to, just copied and pasted the email.
Yeah, but that's not you as a PR. That's you as a writer.
True.
That's fine. Oh, we forgot one person, Lindsay. Lindsay is not an official part of C Squared, but she's part of C Squared. So Lindsay Schoolcraft, for anybody who doesn't know, she's kind of like the unofficial seventh, right? Seventh? Sixth? How many people we got? We got 6, 7. I keep forgetting.
7th? Yeah, I think she's.
No, we got more. We got 8th member of C Squared. So Lindsay's the unofficial 8th member of C Squared. So what Lindsay does is whenever I have a question about something marketing wise and I need to bounce it off someone, me and Corey will generally go to Lindsay, ask her advice because she's been around for a long time. Plus Lindsay toots the shit out of us, our horns rather, says something nice about all of us all the time. Every time she does a live, she always mentions us. Anytime she's talking to people, she always mentions us. So she's kind of like our unofficial cheerleader / consultant. And for anybody who wants to learn more from Lindsay, we have a seminar coming up with her on July 16th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully Holly can be there, but it's going to be past her bedtime, so maybe not. I'm joking. So, now that we're going to go on to the meat of the podcast, now that I've embarrassed the shit out of Holly. So first thing we're going to talk about for the sale, we have the Canada Day / Independence Day sale. So now you guys don't have this in Britain because apparently the Americans defeated you guys. Apparently.
Yeah.
And apparently we just decided we only wanted to have the Queen. We didn't want to be an actual member of Britain anymore. So I'm not sure why we're working with you because apparently you're supposed to. But Yeah. So Holly's trade is now a trader to the UK, apparently. So first of all, what we have is web shop. So Holly, I'm probably putting you on the spot with this a little bit, but can you kind of go over what a web shop actually is?
Well, it's basically an online store, isn't it, for a brand? But there's a lot of advantages to doing it rather than just using Bandcamp or something else, because you get full control of your income.
That's right.
Design it exactly how you want, so it will fit all of your branding and everything. And you can add all biographical information and videos and anything else that you want on it as well. So it works really well as like a central hub of, this is where everything that your band does.
Yep.
So it can make it easier for people to find you.
Perfect. Okay, that was a very good description. So the person who does this is Gaia Gorda. She is our web master. I almost said mistress, but that probably doesn't right.
Yeah, that could be misinterpreted.
What would you call the female version of a webmaster?
I mean, could she? I don't know, like a web sorceress.
Master, but the web. Calling her a webmaster, but she's just the master of putting the website together. I don't know. I don't know. She's not a web mistress, whatever. She's the web designer person, and basically her job is to make you set up so that way you can make some sales. So she will make a really nice web shop for you. Usually she takes about, I think it's 2 to 3 weeks, depending. But one thing you have to keep in mind is the web shops do not include a domain or any hosting fees. We don't take care of that. So if you want to get one, it's going to cost you this week only $445.5 US. But you do need to keep in mind, you need a domain or any hosting fees. Don't ask me how much those are. You got to ask Gaia. I know nothing about this. Holly knows nothing about this. So if you want some more information about a website, you got to ask Gaia or Corey. They are our two web nerds in this organization. We know nothing about it. So the next thing we have is we have social media optimization. So Holly, can you please explain this amazing service that you yourself deliver?
Yeah, so basically I look over all your social medias and tell you what you need to do to get them all nice and shiny and professional looking. So we're doing like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, possibly, if that's something that bands choose to use. And it's basically getting you set up with like a really smart looking social media profile, and then you've also got the tools to keep it looking good when you update it.
So, okay, so how long approximately would you say it would take to do the full optimization service?
I would say maybe 1 to 2 weeks, just depending on how much there is to do, and obviously like other people's time frames, because I know when people are doing this around a full-time job, sometimes communication is a little bit slower, which is fine. That's
totally true. Okay, so now can you give a little bit of an example of what an optimized profile would be for, let's say, Facebook?
Sure. So, I mean, Facebook is now a little bit tricky because they keep removing what were really useful functions, which is really helpful. So what I will try and do is help you like condense your existing bio or point you in the right direction so that you have a really concise thing which now fits in Facebook's new tiny little description box. Get all the images looking good, making sure your profile picture and the banner are both good quality and they suit whatever it is that you're doing at the present, whether it's a new release or an event coming up or something like that. Making sure all of your other social media links and website links are all there so people can find them super easy. And sort of making sure that you've got like a pinned post with your most recent release or whatever on, and just making sure everything looks good and professional, but also in keeping with whatever brand image they've got.
Perfect. So if you want to get one of those, Holly can do that for you. So the price normally is, I just closed my thing, $150, but this is $135, and Holly will be your mom on that one. She will help you and she will guide you through it. Take you about 2 weeks to get done, but she kicks ass at that, and it optimizes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok if needed. If you really want your YouTube optimized, we could probably do that. Shouldn't be too hard, but hit us up if that's what you want. Instead of TikTok, we could probably do it. So next thing we got is 10% off social media audits. So I'm not going to make Holly talk about this because she probably doesn't know what I'm doing with it. I have not sold a social media audit in probably 2 years, but I used to sell them all the time. So what I do is Corey and I will check over your social mediums, and we have a list of things that need to be in, that should be in or should be out, and we will tell you what you need to fix on your social mediums, so that way you can what's the right word, start getting results from them, because there's certain things that you're doing or not doing that are preventing you from getting followers, certain things you're doing or not doing that are preventing people from engaging with you. So that's what we do. We charge $90 for that. If you were smart, you would probably get the social media audit and the optimization together, because we're probably going to tell most people after the audit is done that they're going to also need to get the optimization, because 90% of all people don't have their social media profiles optimized. So I would suggest getting both. Yeah. So do you have anything you want to add on that, Holly, even though I know you're not involved in that service?
I guess just that it's probably really useful for people who aren't really familiar with social media, or they're not quite sure where to start, because you're just going to point them in the right direction and make life super easy for them.
100%. And I forgot to say 2 things. So it's an audit of up to 2 social mediums, not 4 like Holly does. And we give you a PDF listing suggestions to improve. So you actually get an action plan. So next up, we got bios. So we, for some reason I went crazy and I put the bio price at 33% off instead of 10% off. I'm not sure why I did that, but I did that. So the regular price for a bio is $75. This week we're offering it for $50. So you get the bio written by professional writers, Corey or Holly. Both of them have extensive experience. In between the both of them, they've written dozens of bios for many different bands. So who you get, we're not sure. Most bios are going to be written by Holly, because she's like the guy when it comes to bio writing here, the person, that type of thing. Corey doesn't do as much writing wise, because she's got other stuff she helps me with. So Holly's the main guy. We did let Harry Knox get one done by Corey, because he specifically asked for one, because he's been friends with us for ages. But other than that, Holly is going to be the guy what do I keep saying, guy? You know,
it's fine.
The girl,
call me whatever, I don't mind.
The girl. Not whatever. Corey always calls herself the guy, you know, like the expression, like I'm the guy. I'm not me. Not.
No, I know.
I'm just waiting for you to like fucking get mad at me and quit when I say something stupid. So Holly is the girl, the woman, the lady, whatever I'm supposed to call you. Now I'm gonna give myself a grave, aren't I? I know it. We're gonna get off this call and you're just gonna be like, you fucking dickhead. Holly is the maven, the person, the awesome person that does the bios. So what we'll do is, so how it works is, what does it take? Usually about 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, depending on. Yeah. Okay.
It just depends how busy I am with other stuff. So,
yeah. So we'll always give you a list of questions of what to fill out. I have a form I always give to people. I don't think Holly usually asks for more info than what I request. Do you?
Yeah, it normally tells me everything pretty much.
Yeah. So as long as you fill out the form I send you extensively, Holly should be able to come up with a good bio for you. If you don't like the bio, Holly can always revise it. It's not a big deal. But generally, you don't usually get many edits, do you?
No, and if it's the edits that I get are never normally that major, actually. It's usually just slightly rearranging something.
Yeah, I figured as much. Okay, so 90% of the time, Holly doesn't even need to be revised on anything. It's just, you get it, it kicks ass. You love it. If you want a longer bio, she could probably do that for you as well. If you want a shorter bio, she could probably do that for you as well. We might have to charge you a little bit differently if we do that. But Holly has written how many bios since you started with us? Probably like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15?
Something like that. I don't know. There was a week where it was like non-stop bios coming in.
Yeah. I mean, you go on spurts. Okay, so she's probably done like 15 bios for us, and then probably, I would guess, another dozen before.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So Holly's written probably like 25, 30 bios at least in the last few months. She knows what she's doing. Plus she has a degree in writing.
Yeah, all of my degrees are literature based, just with variations.
Cool. So she's got 2 degrees in writing, so she knows what she's doing. They're not going to be full of incorrect grammar or anything like that, like mine would be. Corey as well, if you get her, she also is an English major too. So between the 2 of them, we know there's going to be no grammar mistakes. I mean, everybody makes grammar mistakes, so I mean, it could happen, but probably rare. You're probably going to have a perfectly written bio your first time, and if you have any minor edits, Holly will be more than happy to help you with that. So can you go over a little bit about bios, please, Holly?
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd argue this is probably maybe even the most essential thing that a band needs, because once you've got a good bio, it's kind of, you can do anything with it because you've got it and it's perfect and it explains what you do as a band perfectly, hopefully, if it's well written. So it's really important for bands if they're wanting to, do bits of their own PR and just to put on their own social medias and websites and everything, and it makes them look professional and it explains who they are in a good, concise way that's hopefully easy for everyone to understand.
Yep. Okay, so now I already asked you that question. So would you say that leading into our next question or our next thing, would you say that a band wanting to get an EPK, how do I want to phrase this? Because it's probably a dumb question the way I'm going to rephrase it here. Let me ask you this. Okay. How long should an appropriate bio be as a general rule, in your opinion?
I'd probably say as long, it all depends slightly, maybe with whatever the most major event is, if that makes sense. So obviously, whenever there's a new release, I do a new up-to-date bio. If any lineup changes, do an up-to-date bio. If anything significant happens, like, I don't know, suddenly change genre and do something, go from being a metal band to being a synthwave band, you need to tell people so they know.
I agree. And one thing I do want to point out is if you haven't had your bio updated in a while, you should always get it updated. If you're going to go on tour or if you're going to have a new release, members change or that type of thing. So even if you're just pitching shows and you're not doing a PR campaign, a new bio is always recommended. And this week, it's only $50. Normally costs $75 from either Holly or Corey. But as a general rule, the bio is going to be written by Holly because she is the that's her job, I guess, isn't it? That's one of your jobs. Also as an aside too, if you do need a new bio and you're getting a PR campaign soon, bios are included in PR campaigns, so just keep that in mind. Excuse me. So if you do need a new bio and you're planning on getting a PR campaign, just get the PR campaign. So next up, EPKs. You're on the spot, Holly. Let's hear you talk about them.
Cool. So for those of you who don't know, it's an electronic press kit, basically is what it stands for. And again, it compiles all of your information into a really nice little aesthetic digital package that you can then send to journalists, booking agents, potential management, record labels, whatever it is you're doing. And again, it contains a bio. It will put, your up-to-date images, have links to all your socials or whatever, and your music and everything in there. So it's just like a really useful tool that you can then do whatever you need to do with, and it looks professional.
I agree. So what would be some examples of things that you would need an EPK for, Holly?
High quality photos. Please make them high quality.
Okay.
Not taken on a phone, not edited within an inch of their life or sent through Facebook. It bothers me when I see press articles and the images are not good. Same with the album artwork. What else? Good quality bio, but that is included in the service. So
Cool. Okay. So before we move on here, so regular price, just for anybody who didn't hear that, $250. Sale price is $200. Who does it, Holly? Do you remember?
It's done by Aaliyah.
And written by?
Me. So you get me again.
I was trying to shoot your horn there. So I want to point out A bio is included with the EPK. Holly does the bio. She will do a kick-ass bio for you. And what you can use it for is to get booked, submit to labels. If you're going to do your own PR, you could use it for that. But obviously, we do not recommend you to do your own PR. You should use us instead. But even if you use this for PR, you probably still will want to have an EPK if you're trying to book shows or get signed to a label for one. So you might as well have it anyways. Aaliyah is a professional designer. She's been doing this for years. She's actually worked for a couple record labels, or sorry, one record label, maybe not a couple. Yeah, she knows what she's doing. She does great at it. Holly does a fantastic job with bios. So next up, I think this is the final item, and then we're going to talk about a couple other things since we still got a few minutes, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm calling you like the boss now. You're now the boss.
Oh,
okay. So now 1 hour consulting calls with me and Corey. So regular price for those is $100. Sale price is $80. So I'm going to let Holly talk about this in a second, put her on the spot. But first me. So what we basically do in a consulting call is generally we help you map out how to get sales, how to set targets, figure out where you want to go, and then we give you an action plan on how to get there. So you get a recording of the call. It's a Zoom call that you do. Me and Corey are both there. And basically what we talk about are all those things, plus anything else you need help with. It's only 1 hour long, so it can't be like too much in one call. Usually I find that just in the first call, mainly what we go over is like goal setting and the target setting, and we figure out where you're at and where you need to be. That's usually 1 hour itself. So if you want like a detailed, extensive plan, I would suggest getting more than 1 hour. But this week we're selling those for $80 an hour. Regular price is $100. Some people who have worked with us for consulting that did really well include Carlos from his band. I don't know how to pronounce his band's name. It's like Mulan. I can't. Carlos, I apologize. I can't pronounce your band's name. Also, we had Laura from the Inferno Doll. She's gotten extensive coaching with us. She's now on month 3, I think, and she has made a lot more than what she paid us in terms of money. She's made a ton of sales. She wasn't doing that great in sales before she worked with us. Now it's just kicking major butt. Shay Leonia, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, did some consulting with us, and she got, I think it was 25 pre-orders for her single after doing that, when before she hadn't really sold anything. So those are just a few example people that who have done consulting with us. Oh, Jonathan from Synastema. We just did that with him the other day, and he got a whole roadmap on how to build up his social media. But those are just a few people. So Holly, I know you don't really know much about our consulting, but can you give a plug on why people would want to talk to me and Corey? Because you yourself, I know, have gained invaluable knowledge just from working around us. So you can toot our horns for a second.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I listen to everything that you say.
You do. You're very good.
I do actually. I do. It's really helpful. I think it's a very useful service just because it's personalized. Because I mean, every band and artist, like their journey to getting sales is going to be slightly different because everybody's audience is going to be slightly different, and they might be using social media in different ways and things like that. So it's really helpful that they get you and Corey for an entire hour just to be like, okay, this is where you're at, and give you a detailed plan on what to do. And because, the business side of things, it's tricky. A lot of musicians just aren't familiar with it.
Okay, so just from your own perspective, because I realize we don't really coach you really, but we kind of do.
You kind of do. I mean, I don't expect it. So
but it's part of working with you, right? I mean, like we're the boss, right? So like we got to make sure you're doing well. So okay, just from your own perspective though, how has working with us in general helped you on the business end of things? I realizing you are a co-worker / employee. I'm aware of that, but
yeah,
I think I'm trying to say.
I mean, to be honest, it's given me a bit of a kick up the arse, which I kind of needed to put it in the bluntest way possible, because it's sometimes you just need someone to sit down and tell you, okay, you just need to get on with it, and giving the the best advice on how to do that is very helpful.
Yeah,
and it is one of the things.
Okay, before you go on, has any of the advice, and you can be honest about this, that we have given to you to date been bad advice, or has it been good advice? If it has been bad, just tell me. Nothing?
None of it's been bad. There's been one or two things that I've probably been aware of and I've just not implicated. So it's been kind of useful for you guys to sort of reiterate it.
Cool. Okay. Now, I think I cut you off earlier.
I can't remember what I was saying, so it's
I'm good at cutting people off. Okay, so with the consulting calls, so just to wrap up on the consulting calls part before we go to the next thing. So they're 1 hour long. You get a PDF with action steps. You also get a recording of the call, and you also can talk to us later and just ask questions if you need it. I think that's all we got for consulting. So next up, Holly, which of these services would you personally, Holly Royal, if you were just band member, you don't work with us or anything like that, which one of these would you think what is a service that they should get if they only have enough money to do one, but they get everything? So should they get the consulting? Should they get the web shop? Should they get the EPK? Should they get the bio? And I'm missing something, the social media audit. Which one would you say would be the best for a band that can only do one right now?
I mean, it's slightly awkward to answer because
it is.
Well, it depends. Like if the band are already pretty good with the social media, then I'd say do something else. But if they're really struggling with it, I would say do that. Okay. I'm possibly leaning towards the consulting.
Cool.
Because I think that's probably the most rounded thing in some respects. Obviously, the social media is really important, but if you don't necessarily have the sales skills, you're not going to use it to it as effectively as you could do. And obviously, a bio is super important. But if you then don't know how to use it, it's...
Yeah, I might agree with that. I mean, any of them could actually be the number one thing, I think. I think any of them could be, but I wanted to hear your opinion on it. One thing that I would say, I do agree with the consulting thing. Another thing too, another thing that would be a really good value if the band needs it would also be the EPK, because they get the bio plus
all included.
But at the same time, if they don't know how to use it, that could be a problem. So anyways, you can't really go wrong doing anything with us. Now, one thing I do want to point out, which me and Holly both forgot to mention, is with all of these, there is a quality check on the band. So if you come to us and we don't think you're up to a point where you do need consulting or you do need an audit or anything like that, we're not going to accept you. One thing that I've been frustrated with in the past is I've sold social media audits to bands, and I get the social mediums and literally they have not posted anything in 2 years. So there's nothing for me to audit except to say post. I took $100 just to basically say post some stuff. So if you're not actually working on your social mediums at all, your best bet is to get Holly to optimize them for you first. Don't even bother with an audit, because the first thing I'm going to say is post something. What Holly can do with your social mediums is she can take a look. She'll make sure you got all your information there. You're set up so people can actually buy from you, and that you actually look attractive to potential buyers and people that might want to listen to your music. Did you notice that I did a good plug for you right there? Right there. So, and again, Holly is fantastic to work with. She has great customer service skills. Everybody that's worked with her has said nothing but good things about her. I even get random DMs about her, just saying how awesome she is.
Oh, okay.
I told you I got one.
Like you showed, you showed me one.
Yeah, guys get random DMs about you too. I mean, like you have a fan club there. You have a fucking fan club, and you don't even realize it. You have a fan club. We're going to start a Holly Royal fan club page. Can we do that? Yes, let's do it.
Oh, no.
We're gonna do the official Holly Royal fan club page. I'm kidding. I'm just trying to embarrass you. So next up. So last thing I want to talk about super quickly is okay. So Holly, if someone comes up to you and they want to buy, they want to get either the bio or they want to get the social media optimization. How do they choose which one they should get?
I think it depends where they're at and what they're looking to do.
Okay. So
it'd be useful to know like if they've got an upcoming release, if they already have an existing bio or something and it's just they need a new one, or if it's and with the social media, have they got anything set up at all, or are they completely at the beginning?
So let's say it's a band who are planning on releasing something in 6 months. They're going to get PR with us at some point. Which of those two would you suggest?
Oh, social media.
Okay, cool.
Definitely. Yeah, because there's no point writing a bio when they'll get one in the PR campaign anyway.
Yeah,
and to be honest, 6 months ahead is kind of at least when you want to be starting to work on social media to build it up so it's all nicely done by the time you do actually release something.
I agree. Okay, so Holly, we're going to wrap up in a couple of minutes because we got the live with Gaia in 13 minutes. But before we do, so we're going to have a couple final things. So number one, you're going to be doing some more podcasts in the future with us. Probably not just with me, but probably with Gaia. We had discussed that. We just got to get you guys together at some point.
Organized.
Yeah, you guys organized. You'll notice I'm forcing you guys both onto podcasts just with me. You'll notice that. Okay? You'll notice that. Maybe one with me today. Gaia's been doing the other ones. Yeah. So what are some things that you are planning on teaching people and bands about in the future on future episodes that you and Gaia do, or you and I do? Or you and Corey, or whoever?
I mean, I think like we can always go over things like pitching and stuff to no end because it's an important topic that so many people just struggle with.
Cool.
So things like that. And yeah, I think sometimes just the basics of marketing, the basics of branding, because there's so many brands who they kind of know what they want the brand to be, but they haven't quite got there yet.
I agree.
Social media, because it's always relevant.
I agree.
Always relevant.
Cool.
I mean, I'd be quite interested in maybe talking about some more like, it's one of those things, I'm never going to tell someone how to write music, but I would be interested in looking at how bands write their music and whether any improvements can be made. Because sometimes it's a slight quality issue with the production side of things, or they don't quite know how to get the sound that they're going for, or they choose the wrong sound engineer, things like that.
Yep, I agree on that. And then what would you like to see talked about on the C Squared podcast at some point in the future, out of curiosity? That we haven't covered.
That's a good question.
Or that we have, but in maybe a different way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be good to do, what was I thinking? I think I already said this to you, like the idea of going through, say, someone like Gaia, her campaign, and giving a sort of like first person point of view. I think a lot of people might find that quite interesting.
Give me that again. So like going through like the campaign we did with her, like with the anatomy. Okay, and kind of going, oh, I like that.
Because I think, I know, like if you're a band and you've never done a PR campaign before, it can be a little bit, they don't know what to expect. They don't know what's going on. Yeah,
I like this idea, and I think we're going to do that now. I'm stealing this idea from you, Holly. That is very good. you just gave a really good idea over here, and I am going to use that. Okay, any final stuff you want to say before we end off?
I guess one thing is, like, if anyone has any questions about services and stuff, like I think I can talk for everyone. But certainly for me, I will always happily just answer questions.
100%. And Holly is in charge of the C Squared Instagram page, unless I accidentally answer a DM. I did do that the other day, but I'm sorry, Holly. I legitimately thought it was my own account, and I got the notice, and I realized I'm answering a C Squared, and I was like, ooh. But as a general rule, if you write the C Squared podcast Instagram page, Holly will be there to answer any questions that you have. If she doesn't know the answer, she can ask me or Corey, but 99.9% of the time, Holly knows what she's doing. She will not bargain with you on prices. So if you try to bargain with her, the answer is no. She's not going to go lower in price, and will probably not want to work with you because Holly's going to tell us that you're being mean to her, and we don't want to work with people that are being mean to her. In addition to that, also, Holly's always good to answer questions on pretty much anything. But again, limit the questions if you can to something that's like short. Don't always come to her every 2 minutes for advice. But as a general rule, she is more than willing to help you. As am I, as is Aaliyah, as is Gaia, as is Corey. So if you need any help with anything, reach out to us. And Holly's great. Holly's wonderful. Holly's like one of the best people I've ever worked with. And you should get her to do a bio. And that's all. And this is podcast.